This is a short overview of grooming with the Tucker. If the dome lights do not come on, open the engine bay door and turn on the main power switch. Turn on the key and watch for the glow plug light to turn on. When the glow plug light goes out, you can start the engine. Now you can turn on the headlights.
All right.
The headlights and drag lights, the beacon light, the heated mirrors, the engine bay lights, the drag lights, the front track lights,
Okay.
the overhead LED headlights. Now raise the front of the drag with the hitch. Raise the rear of the drag with the wheels. Raise the front blade. Push on the brake pedal and shift into reverse. Now you are going to back out of the club shed. Make sure the door is open all the way. Watch both the front and the rear. Make sure you stay straight. Now you have backed out of the club shed. You are ready to go to forward. Step on the brake, shift into third gear, and away we go. Now I am going to explain some grooming techniques and procedures. In the drag, you are going to see the snow flowing through as the blades cut through all the bumps, moguls, and drifts in the trail. We want those front blades to be cutting down into those moguls and bumps. We want the snow to be flowing through the drag to break it up and make it possible so that against the rear cross blade it is full all the way across. We want to have enough snow to compress going out under the rear pan to create a nice, smooth, and well-packed trail behind us. You will be watching the drag through the mirrors. You'll get better at this. This is just a video to show what is going on in the drag itself. You will be watching the mirrors. When you are turning is the best time to see how the drag is working. Is the drag full? And do we have enough snow against the rear blade to make a nice, smooth trail? Now, as we transition out into the field, you notice there is more snow on the trail. It begins to load up the drag. As long as the snow is flowing through, the drag is working properly. But as you can see now, the drag is beginning to plug up. We have snow spilling over the sides into the trail, which we do not want. The drag is no longer being able to cut down into the moguls and snow to smooth things over. The drag snow going out under the rear pan is not coming out smooth. This drag needs to be lifted up very gradually. To do this, you pick up on the front hitch, feather it out so that it goes up very slowly, otherwise we will leave a bump in the trail. Here we have slowly lifted up the drag in the front enough just to get rid of some of the snow. Now we have dropped it back down so we continue to cut and we continue to drag. This will always be changing as the snow conditions, amount of snow, and drifting vary as you are going down the trail. Here again, the snow has stopped flowing through the drag. The drag is beginning to plug up. We are not doing a good job. We are not leaving a smooth, well-packed trail behind us. You can see now we have to begin to raise the front of the drag in order to release some of the snow. But we must do it gradually. We must pick up in small increments or we will leave a big bump of snow in the trail. As you can see, now it is starting to flow as we slowly lift up the front of the drag. We are starting to gradually empty out. The drag should clear and the snow should begin to flow through the drag again, cutting through the bumps and snow drifts and making a nice, smooth, long-lasting trail. Now the drag has emptied out. We can drop the front of the drag back down and begin cutting the bumps and moguls out of the trail, making it smooth and well packed. Now we are approaching our first road crossing. As we get close, I like to drop the rear wheels down just a little bit to get them ready to raise the rear of the drag, but not as of yet. Now as we approach the road crossing, we are slowly going to taper out to empty the drag. We are emptying the drag with a nice even taper as we approach our first road crossing. Now the drag is completely empty. We are approaching the road crossing. As the rear of the pan itself approaches the shoulder of the road, we are going to drop the wheels right on the shoulder to pick up the pan. There, we dropped the wheels. Now we drop the front hitch right of way. Now we slowly raise the rear wheels as the pan crosses the road. You notice we dropped the hitch immediately as soon as the wheels were in the up position to get the drag ready for the entry into the other side of the road crossing. Once the pan was clear of the shoulder of the road, we dropped the wheels, tapered them down to make a nice smooth transition to the road crossing. Because road crossing is so critical, we are going to cover it once more here. As you notice, we first dropped the rear wheels to get them ready for the road crossing. Now we begin to taper the drag up in the front to slowly empty out the snow that is in the drag. We leave a nice even taper at the end of the road crossing so that there are no bumps in the trail. As we approach the road, the wheels will go down and touch the shoulder of the road to lift up the pan. You immediately drop the drag entry into the opposite side. You taper up the wheels to begin to get the drag ready to begin grooming on the other side. A nice smooth transition. We must make sure we do not leave any snow, ice, rocks, or other debris in the road. Anything left in the road is a safety issue and must be addressed. You must stop, go back. Here is an example of when we left some snow on the road. This is a safety issue. You stop, go back, and clean the snow off the road. Other debris, be it rocks, ice, corn stubble, anything we left on the road becomes a safety issue for any traffic crossing our trails. As you can see, we have traffic approaching here. We are going to make this crossing safe, so we're going to clear all this snow away before we leave and continue on grooming the trail for the rest of this evening. Again, this is a safety issue, so please be aware of this and take care of your trails. Here we have some heavy drifting going along the side of the trail. We are going to use the blade to knock down the big drifts. This will help the drag smooth things over. As you can see, you have to go slow. The groomer will tend to porpoise, bounce up and down if you go too fast, and you will leave more bumps in the trail than it started with. So just use the blade and slowly knock down the snow. Let the drag do the work. It will smooth out the trail and pack down the snow for you. This is the procedure for climbing a steep or icy hill. Come to a complete stop. Turn on the air compressor by pushing the air compressor button. First engage the rear differential lock, then engage the front differential lock. Now we are ready to go up the hill. As you climb this hill, you may not be able to work the drag. You may have to raise the hitch and just pan the trail, because if the hill is icy and you are spinning or sliding, we don't want to slide into one of those trees alongside the hill. We just want to climb the hill safely. We will groom on the way down the hill. So as you slowly climb this hill, leave all the differential locks engaged. Go right up to the top of the hill. Now that you have crested the hill, you can come to a complete stop. We will disengage the differential locks. As we come to a complete stop, you will turn off the front differential lock, then the rear differential lock, then turn off the compressor. Now they have disengaged, you can lower the drag and begin grooming normally again. Now we are going to look at grooming with trees close to the edge of the trail. Remember, the drag is wider than the groomer, so as you go past them, leave room. This also applies to blazers and signposts. As you can see here, we are grooming very slowly close to some trees. As happens, we stop. We actually hooked a tree here. You look in the mirror and you can see we have hooked a small tree with the front of the drag. Thank goodness we were going slow enough. No damage occurred. Now we raise up the hitch on the front of the drag, put the wheels down to raise the rear of the drag off the trail. Now we are going to back up. We are going to start over without leaving a bump in the snowmobile trail. Now we begin to back up. You don't have to go very far, just far enough to move the drag away from the tree. Now we can lower the hitch, raise the wheels. Now we must go slow. We are still very close to the tree. We do not want to cause any damage to the tree or the drag. We can now concentrate on where we are going again. Just make sure we keep enough clearance to the trees that are so close to the trail. We just have to go slow. Watch where you are going. Take it easy. If you hook something, back up, go again. It will fit through there. You just have to go slow. Remember, this applies to blazers, signposts of any kind. Anything that is near the trail. The drag is wider than the groomer. It will hook things if you are too close. You do not want to cause damage to the drag or anything we are going past. Just be careful and go slow. Now we are going to do a bridge crossing. First thing we do is slow down. Get ourselves square and straight for our entry into the bridge. Make sure the front blade goes between the bridge railings. Now we are slowly going to progress and watch our mirrors to see how the drag is doing. We want the drag to slowly go between the railings on the bridge. We are always going to continue grooming on the bridge if there is enough snow. We would like to get the bumps out of the bridge. We must not cause any damage to the bridge deck. As long as there is enough snow, we can groom. We can make the bridge entry and exit nice and smooth. As we get to the end of the bridge now, make sure we are nice and square as we leave the end of the bridge. Now we can begin grooming at our normal speed again. Now we are going to cover what it is like when you meet snowmobiles while you are out grooming. Normally on a wide straight trail with snowmobiles coming up from behind, I like to pull over and allow the snowmobiles to pass by the groomer. Never leave the trail with the groomer. Make sure the snowmobiles go around. This way we have no issues with the groomer leaving the trail. As soon as the snowmobiles have passed, we can resume grooming at our normal pace. We are also going to meet snowmobiles from the front. The same thing applies in open spaces. We are going to pull over and allow the snowmobiles to pass us. We will never leave the trail with the groomer. In the woods it is different. Where there are trees, you must have the snowmobiles pull off the trail. The groomer must drive past them. You must be very careful, and they must move off the trail far enough to allow the groomer to pass through. They should not pull over next to a tree. It will become difficult to pass between them and the tree. Anytime you stop the groomer and leave the cab, you must put on your high vis, which is the bright green vest. The vest is provided for you. Anytime you are going to be outside the cab for more than just a few seconds, you must turn on the high idle switch. You will turn on the high idle switch when you leave. When you return, remember to turn the high idle switch off. If you do not turn the high idle switch off when shifting into gear, you will get the range inhibit light. The range inhibit light indicates you forgot to do something. If you forgot to step on the brake pedal before shifting into gear, range inhibit will engage. If you forget to turn off the high idle, range inhibit will engage. You just have to do these procedures in the proper order. As you return to the club shed, open the door with the remote door opener. Make sure the door has opened all the way. Now, as you slowly enter the building, make sure you are centered in the doorway. As you continue straight in, check both your left and right mirrors to make sure the drag is also centered in the doorway. Now that you are all the way into the shed, shift into neutral. Lower the front blade, lower the drag hitch, raise the wheels to lower the rear of the drag. Now we can shut off the lights on the drag and the groomer. Now we can shut off the engine.